What is up, guys? See, I'm back again with another tank review. I know, two in a row, 2 days in a row. Playing a little bit of a catch up here because obviously yesterday we had the OHO review, but last night, the night before I recorded this video, got the third mark on the T-103. Now this is a tier 8 Russian premium tank destroyer with a turret. So this thing's actually really good. I feel like this thing's a little underrated. So, let's start as always with the stats here. You have a 130mm gun with 258mm of standard AP pen for 440 alpha damage, and you have premium AP with 307mm of pen, same alpha damage, 440, and you have HE with 65mm of pen for 580 alpha damage. Now, before I even get onto the gun handling, these are really good pen values for AP at tier 8. The AP on this is really strong, because AP being so good against angled armor, with these pen values, will basically go through anything you fire it at. You can very easily take on tier 10s, even if you have to load premium ammo at times, without having any trouble whatsoever. And the one thing that's a bit of a learning curve with this gun is the shell velocity. It's 870 meters per second for all the shells. But on the flip side, that's also not a bad thing either, because it means that no matter which shell you're firing, you give it the same lead, which is pretty nice actually. The reload is pretty good as well. You've got a base DPM of, well, this is a 100% crew DPM of just under 2,500, which is pretty nice. With my setup, which had the bounty rammer, I had vent in the first slot, and then I had bond optics in the middle slot, like I said, bounty rammer in the third slot, as well as food, brothers in arms. I had a reload of 8.5 seconds. Yeah, 8.5 seconds for 440 alpha. That's pretty damn good. That's easily over 3,000 DPM. That's really nice. And being 130mm in caliber, you can overmatch quite a few different tanks in terms of armor plates as well. Swedish TDs, for example. You carry plenty of ammo as well. 50 rounds is actually pretty decent. And the gun handling stats, while they don't look amazing here, in practice, this gun felt so good. You know, like, I didn't need to worry about taking long to aim at anything. Even after turning the turret, this thing can snap onto targets pretty well. So yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Your mobility is pretty decent also. 40 kilometers an hour top speed, 12 in reverse. Just over 14 horsepower per ton thanks to the 900 horsepower engine. You turn pretty quickly as well. Your turret turns at a reasonable speed also. Your ground resistances are nothing special, but I find that this thing just motors on across whatever terrain you throw at it. It's pretty damn good. Your gun depression and elevation values are good as well. 30 degrees of gun elevation, 8 degrees of gun depression. And that gun depression is pretty much all the way around. There's a couple of sections on the back that you'll see, and that a little less gun depression, but for the most part, you're able to just aim this pretty much anywhere. You'll be able to point down basically anywhere over your tank. And the armor we'll get onto in a moment. Don't worry about these values here. We'll move on past those. We'll get onto the armor when we get to the 3D model. You got 1250 health. Nothing special there. That's right around average for a tier 8 tank destroyer. Get a little extra, but not by a lot. This thing I found it had its fuel tank broken regularly, but I didn't get that many fires. I think I had maybe like one fire, maybe two, in like the over the 100. Let's see, it was 121 games it took for me to get this from 0 games played to third mark. So that's not too bad. I didn't get set on fire much, but just bear in mind that the fuel tanks are not particularly healthy, and basically anywhere around your engine there's probably also a fuel tank, so keep that in mind. And No camo at all on this thing. This thing's a bit of a chonker when it comes to TDs. So yeah, if you have a camo skill crew, then obviously that gets you a bit extra. I think with full camo skill and brothers in arms, food, and camo paint, as well as vents in the first slot, I think I had about 12% camo when stationary and about 8% on the move, something like that. View range base of 380 is really nice. You can very easily spot for yourself. Like I say, with my setup of vents in the first slot, bond optics, bounty rammer, food, brothers in arms, and the view range skills, I had about 499 meters view range. So very, very nice for counteracting any camo of targets that you're searching for. Anyway, moving on to the armor. Now, this thing doesn't really have any armor on the hull, as you can see here. Yeah, you're not bouncing anything off that hull, unfortunately. You can even get overmatched by some guns that are bigger ones in some places on your tank. So yeah, don't expect to be bouncing very much with the hull. So the objective here is just do not side scrape. Go hull down as much as you can. And there are some places that are going to be a bit of a struggle to go hull down on because of how big this hull is. For context, this tank is taller than an E100, if only a tiny bit. And as for the turret armor, you do actually have a little bit. You've got some troll areas. You've got a gun mantlet that can be a little trolly as well. You've got a little weak spot here and here where it's a little bit weaker, like a little strip up and down here. It's like 220, 230. But if people are hitting even a little bit wide of that, they are gonna bounce. So this is not a bad turret at all. Just bear in mind that you do also have a cupola here. Basically, anyone that shoots at this cupola, if they hit it, they're probably gonna pen. So keep that in mind. There are some chances for auto bounce angles here and there, though. So just remember that, though. But it's not gigantic, but it's not small either. Another last downside is that you do not have much in terms of roof armor. It's pretty big, it's pretty flat. So at certain angles, if you're really unlucky, Artie could potentially pen these. But I think I only had that happen once. And yeah, I only had that happen once in the entire time that I played this tank for gun marks. So yeah, so overall, if you're hull down, you can use your gun depression pretty well, then you're gonna be doing alright with this thing. It's a very, very solid support tank that if you're hull down or if you're in a position where other tanks are taking hits, this thing can dish out the damage pretty well. And you're gonna see that in the replay, because we're basically going to be firing our gun the entire match. Spoiler alert. So moving on back to one point as well. Shell cost on standard ammo is only 910 for that 258 millimeters of pen. So this thing is a pretty damn good credit maker as well if you can pen enough shots with standard ammo. One last thing to bear in mind, by the way, is that the commander is also the radio man. So if you want both view range skills, they have to be on the commander. Okay. On to the match then. So this was the first match of my stream yesterday. That would be Friday, the 2nd of April 2021. The very first match of my stream. And yeah, it's a bit of a doozy. Tier 10 on the Sujianki. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit, because we're just getting into position here. I usually go, with tanks like this, I usually go down here to the little hull down spot. Any bad chat spotted there going after our Manticore. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get the shot. I YOLO it just with the chance, but unfortunately, he YOLOs the Manticore and the Manticore goes down. I'm keeping an eye out for things going on, so I'm looking to my side. There's a 277 E3 from the enemy team there. They're not in a position to fight me yet. I spot the Progetto 66 with the cupola of my tank. And we get a shot on him, but it only hits his tracks. But we get an absolute ton of spotting on him. Thank you very much for that. That's one thing as well, with this thing being so tall, the cupola can actually spot over cover as well. Type 61 gets spotted. Nice easy shot on him. He basically just sat there. He does spot us, but we're fairly safe here. There's no artillery this match either. So a nice, easy shot on him. We're just playing the slow game for the moment. Just waiting until the enemy team makes a mistake. Trying to respot the enemies here. But the Barras goes forward, and the Type 61 and the Progetto are fairly safe. Oh, that was quite a lucky shot on that Barras. That actually overmatches his hull. That doesn't track him, but I think it like damage tracks and then one other module from what I remember. There aren't any blind shots this match that hit, so any damage you see will be the damage we get. Same with spotting. So looking around for the Type, but he's not going to be getting spotted, and now the enemy E3 is pushed forward. I am firing full premium this match because, well, I thought, well, tier 10, I'm probably going to have to deal with that E3 at some point, and I was right. These two VKs do get in the way a little bit. I try and go for the tracking shot, but this VK on my left here kind of boops me a little bit. I get he's kind of nervous because that's an E3, oof, E3 snaps a shot off, but that's all that E3 is going to get allowed to do here. That's all he's going to be able to do, because he's got two angry VK-75s and myself. And he's gone. One shot of damage. Andy there in the T-110E3. The enemy 277 is pushed up to fight our TVP. Enemy ISU 152K puts a shot into our TVP. 277 is playing really weird. I don't know why he decided that he would do that, but he does actually go on to mess up our TVP here. Another shot from the ISU. That TVP is done for, unfortunately. So here, I do try and get a shot on him, but the VK does kind of, yeah, it doesn't make it easy, but he's firing HE, which means if he gets a shot on our flat side, he could potentially pen. Now, I noticed that the VK goes for the VK. The VK-75 goes for the VK-100. Right there, that is why the AP is really strong. If I had been firing APCR there, that would have been a more difficult shot to pen. Nice, another easy shot. I didn't even notice this other VK-75 was trying to go for a shot, so he gets a little annoyed. But, whatever. So, I just quickly say sorry, but you know. He accidentally boops me there, trying to take cover from the 277. I don't blame him. It's a bit of a tight spot. But now our Leo PTA is going around to deal with the 277. And our T-110E4 has finally decided to stop camping this match. But we've already got a decent result here. 2,500 damage, 1,400 spotting. Not bad, not bad. So we're looking to try and get shots on the other side of the map again. Or even to start trying to go around. 277 still there. Fortunately for us, he's still firing HE, so yep, he donks that one. And we get the nice shot into his lower plate. You see what I mean about this gun being kind of snappy. You can hit those snapshots without too much trouble with this thing, and now he turns around and we can just finish him off nice and easy. Now the Batchat is shooting the Super Conqueror here, but fortunately for us, nothing can spot us doing this right now. Just trying to take a quick snapshot at the UDES. Unfortunately, he's just a little bit too much in cover for us at that point. Now looking for shots on this ISU. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit for a second, just to get in position. Now I'm using third person here, so I can see where he's aiming. I angle a little bit, trying to find a good shot on him. I also realize our T-110E4 is pushing forward, so I kind of play this a little chill for the moment. I do get spotted by the ISU here. I go for the tracking shot, but unfortunately, he just repairs instantly. And the E4 doesn't really do much here. And you're going to see exactly why shortly. Get a nice shot on the ISU here. I have no idea what this E4 is doing. He takes a shot at the 777 instead of the ISU, but the ISU fires. We can go forward here and take the shot. I take cover, but this VK-75 is being a complete asshole. Fortunately for me, the Super Kong saved me from being shot in the face. So I'm going to slow this VK down a little bit because he decided to try and push me. And I let him know exactly how I feel because he is the kind of person who will push friendly players in front of ISU 152s. Yeah, not a nice guy. And he deserves to be called out for it. That guy, by the way, in the VK was a 46% win rate player, which, yeah, I mean, that kind of behavior often lines up with players with, let's just say lower skill levels. Now we get spotted here. This is the bad chat spotting us. We try and take a shot at the 430. We don't get the shot, so I hold my fire, and I get a nice easy shot at the bad chat. And he goes down. So we get 3 kills, over 5,000 damage, 1,400 assistance. This was over 1,600 base XP. This was a very, very nice match. This was easily the best result in terms of damage I've had in this tank. And honestly, this gun it's so reliable. It really is. It's probably one of the most reliable guns I've used at tier 8. Like, I prefer this gun to the Scorpion G gun. I prefer this gun to the SU-130 PM gun. I prefer it to the ISU-152 and 152K guns. And they're 750 Alpha with even more pen. At least on standard ammo. And on premium, the regular 152 has a little less than this. And yeah, like I say, this is one of the most reliable guns at the tier that I've used. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, you will not struggle to pen anything with this gun. And like, that's partially because it's all AP apart from the high explosive shells. And AP is just a reliable shell choice for penning basically anything, angled or not. So yeah, I would highly recommend this tank if you're looking for a Russian tier 8 premium tank to either make some credits with or to train a crew. It's definitely one of the more interesting ones. It kind of makes you adapt to finding odd spots here and there as well. And like, because you're so tall, you can peek over cover that's a lot taller than other tanks can actually use. So you can really cut people off in ways that they might not expect. Like for example, there's a little position on Abbey on the 1 line where you can basically stay completely covered from the 1 line and shoot onto the 2 line. So let's say if you're on south spawn, you go around onto the 1 line and you can shoot up towards the little bit where the 1 and 2 lines cross over onto each other. You know where all the little destroyed tanks are placed as cover. You can actually shoot over some rocks that would hide every other tank's gun. So if anyone peeks that's in a tall enough tank, you can actually just shoot them in the face over your cover. It's pretty silly. There's a lot of options with this tank when it comes to where you can play it. One thing to bear in mind is that because it is so tall, your gun depression is a little awkward at times, even though it's really good. And so keep that in mind, that if you're like cresting a ridge, for example, if you're going over a ridge, you'll probably end up having to show most of your hull if you're not careful. It depends on the height of the ridge, of course. Depends on how flat the end of it is as well. Like, for example, on El Haluf, if you are peeking the ridge to try and shoot heavies that are crossing towards the A1 square from either spawn, then the little hills that you can go onto next to the wall, like castle walls sort of area, those little hills, you will be showing your hull if you're going to be shooting the heavies in the side as they cross. So keep that in mind. It is a very big tank, but like I say, if you can play this thing hull down, or if you can find some iffy spots that you can shoot over and people won't be expecting, this tank will treat you well. And hell, even if you can play it in the support role, as we did this match, where you're not the primary focus of the enemy team, then you can keep the gun firing and you will tear people to shreds. Anyway guys, that's all I have to say on this one. If you tried this tank out and you've played a little bit with yourself, let me know what you think. Let me know how your experiences are. Hopefully you've learned something here as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And until the next one, guys. Peace out.